Joining me right now is House Intelligence Committee Ranking Member, California Congressman Devin Nunes. And Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. And you said all of this back in 2018 when you came out with your Nunes notes. You wrote the Devin Nunes letter, which basically outlined what the leadership at the FBI and the CIA were doing to take down Donald Trump. It was a coup. Your reaction to what we learned from these documents yesterday?
Well, I would say that we need the judge to do the right thing. We need DOJ to do the right thing. We need these lawyers to be investigated. And I would say overall, Maria, we talked about this on your Sunday show. I told you that there are three reports that really need to be analyzed and investigated. One, of course, is the Steele Fusion GPS Clinton paid for dossier. The other is the intelligence community assessment that was done right after the 2016 election. That needs to be investigated, which I call Obama's dossier. And then, of course, there's the Mueller report, which is the Mueller dossier also in how I define them. There now needs to be an entire investigation of all of those people that were involved, all the lawyers, everybody from DOJ to FBI, all the way down, because most likely this is because we've already found discrepancies in that Mueller report. So, we're running an investigation, but the problem is that, we have a small team on the House Intelligence Committee. But the bottom line with Flynn is this, Maria, that we knew from essentially day one, early on in 2017, and that he was innocent. How did we know that? Because the top officials at the FBI told us so. This wasn't rocket science. Then you talked about the report that we did. So we have the gold standard. The House Republican report is really the gold standard of reports. In fact, there are no other reports to even look at because the others are all based on lies or innuendo or corruption. OK, so our report was right at the time. And if you may recall this, but we had to fight for nearly 2 months. Our report, we put it out. We said there was no evidence of collusion. We also had some very important information in there about General Flynn. It said that we had evidence that General Flynn didn't lie. Okay, this was from the FBI. That was why it was in the report. But when that report first came out, all the mainstream media, who are essentially operators of the Democratic Party, now I think it's obvious if people don't know that now, they were in on this, okay? From the very beginning, the media was in on this. They covered up our report. We had to fight with the FBI and the DOJ so that we could get the General Flynn information unredacted, declassified.
That's right.
That took us almost 2 months to get that done. So there's another investigation that needs to be done too, is who the hell's over at the FBI that keeps covering this information up? It's derogatory. I get it. It's not good for the FBI, but I want to know who at the FBI keeps covering this up.
Because there are continued redactions. And I know, Devin, because you've been on my show now for several years, and I remember throughout 2017, you would come on every Sunday and educate me about what was going on, you and John Ratcliffe and a couple of your colleagues, because you saw the unredacted material. You knew what was happening and that there was a coup to take him down. You had to have such courage to do that because the entire country was up in arms saying Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. I know because I got slammed, and I got slammed because I was just seeking truth from you and your colleagues. And every Sunday I would come in and say, oh, my God, I can't believe what we learned today. And by the way, Jim Comey had the arrogance to go on a book tour after all of this was out and your team knew what was going on. And he actually talked about it, laughing at General Flynn, the fact that he sent agents over there and completely disregarded the section 1001, which means you have to tell anybody who you're going to throw agents at that you might want to bring a lawyer. Listen to what he said when he was interviewed on his book tour. Watch this.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. The protocol, 2 men that all of us have perhaps increased appreciation for over the last 2 years. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents, into the White House itself to interview a senior official. You would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
He just told us right there, and they're laughing about it. Congressman, this guy, General Flynn, is a 3-star general. He's lost his reputation. He's lost all of his money paying lawyers. Carter Page, he was wiretapped because he was associated with Donald Trump. We know now that at least 2 of the 4 wiretaps were unlawful. That's what the DOJ said. I'm going to stick my neck out and say all 4 were unlawful, by the way. But will there be accountability?
Well, you wouldn't be sticking your neck out to very far. They're definitely all illegal, and there was a conspiracy to do so. I think the most sickening part, though, about that entire clip, obviously, when I first heard that clip and I saw that, it infuriated me because of course, I had seen all the information. But there's something more that's perverted about that. Number one is I don't know who's asking those questions. I don't know what reporter that is or where that person works, but that is sick. That reporter is a sick person. The people in that audience are also sick. And this is the problem is you see it all the time, okay, by these. And these are people that should know better, but they don't care. These are media personnel that are essentially like just walking at, they're like employees of the Democratic National Committee. They had the documents. They had the Fusion GPS documents. In many cases, remember, it was the Washington Post that ran with the information that ultimately got Flynn fired, and that was a classified leak it was a leak of classified information of a phone call that was picked up of General Flynn talking to the ambassador. So the sick part about this is you had the media, the Democrats, all these dirty cops. They poisoned millions of Americans, Maria, so much so that every day we still deal with this, that American people think that General Flynn and Republicans are somehow Russian agents.
And it was the same agents working on the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Same one, Peter Strzok. So if they were lying here, were they lying there? Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you.